because I'm not used to this. I'm usually annoying people in the street with my saxophone, so...
Oh, is that you? We love you!
Woo! I'm so shaking right now. Okay, I'm going to read you some poems, and it feels really self-indulgent to show you a piece of my brain, but it is my birthday today. And thank you. That's the reason I'm here. And I'm 54, and I wanted to just take you for a 5-minute journey through my life, starting with my love of poetry, which really started when I was about 7 or 8 years old, and my parents gave me an amazing poetry book by Australian writers written for kids, and it was called Stuff and Nonsense. And the very first poem in that book just hit me in the heart so big. And it was by somebody who I've since actually been able to meet and have a relationship with and talk to about poetry, and it was Michael Leunig. And, oh, I know, right? He's just like so beautiful. It turns out that the first poem I ever learned, and I have been reciting to anyone who listened ever since, is actually the first poem he wrote. And it seemed an appropriate way to start with somebody else's poem. It's called Sitting on a Fence. Come sit down beside me, I said to myself. And although it doesn't make sense, I held my own hand as a small sign of trust. And together I sat on the fence. Okay, the rest of them are mine. So this one is, I wrote some poems for my children when they were really young, and it just kind of happened. So when my children were about, I don't know, Brittany would have been about 6 or 7, so Sebastian was probably about 4. And we had an amazing vegetable garden, and I was growing all these wonderful vegetables that I was insisting my children had to eat. They weren't really impressed with that. My daughter came in to me and she told me that if I really loved her, we'd have Maccas every day. And so I went into my bedroom and I penned this little ditty in response to that request. And it's called Harvest of Love. Mummy, my darling, angels say, if you loved us, we'd have Maccas every day. But no, my poppets, I reply, I love you more, and that is why I make it my ambition to feed your growing bodies with good nutrition. The only veggie some kids know is the lettuce on their dad's Big Mac. How lucky you kids are, your mummy's not that slack. Not only does she cook you veggies, we even grow our own. You've seen the fuel our bodies need from the seeds that we have sown. We've hosed the plants, we've pulled the weeds, we've picked the freshest crop. We've marvelled at how fast they've grown and wondered if they'll stop. It's much more fun than drive-through and much more tasty too, and that's the gift of growing love your mummy gives to you. Thank you. That's probably the only one that I've actually memorised, so I'm going to read the rest. Skip forward many, many years, and I've been spending a lot of time in the outback trying to get away from as many people as possible. And I miss my kids. They're now 26 and 30, and it's been a hard road separating from, as any parents out there will understand, it's when they've been your best buddies, it's hard. So I wrote this song sitting in the middle of the Mallee in Victoria for my boy because I'm missing him. It's called Ode to My Son. I wish I could show you the way the stars shine out here. I wish I could sit with you and contemplate them, to share our fears, our dreams, together under that blanket of forever. I wish you knew that every child who seeks me out reminds me of you and what we once had, when you were my adventure buddy and I was your whole world. That gladness tinged with sadness, for the memories of what we had that is no longer and will never be again. I'm older now, you're wiser now. Life is busier somehow, and our paths cross less and less and appear to diverge, stretch, ever further and further apart. You are like a dream to me now, etched forever in my heart. Thank you. And this one I actually wrote here in Laney, I don't know, a few weeks ago. thinking about myself because I went and saw a very strange psychologist, had a really uncomfortable experience, at which point he decided that I had multiple personality disorder, which was so wrong. So it made me think about the parts of myself, you know. It turns out I'm autistic, so whatever. Yeah. Yay! Go to neurodivergence. Woo-hoo. Okay. This one's called All of Me. Parts of me are like a tree, arms outstretched defiantly, reaching for the sky, toes gleefully squelching in the russet red mud of an outback deluge. Some parts of me are like Eeyore, gloomy in a grey sky kind of way, wishing the whole world away, wanting to stay in bed all day. Other parts of me are a song, that ditty you hear on the radio, the one that gets stuck in your head and that you find yourself humming mindlessly. Sometimes I am a storm, changing with the wind that shakes the leaves off the trees, a flash of lightning, the rumble of thunder, an electric charge in the air that prickles the skin. And sometimes I am like a river, a vibrant life force, just going with the flow, taking the path of least resistance. Refracted light, sparkling glitter all around, creating musical sounds as it flows effortlessly through the landscape, on a mission to fulfill its destiny. Thank you. And last one, which is appropriate to be reading from my phone. I feel so bad about doing this. My friend who's a really amazing spoken word poet in Canada says you have to memorize them, but too hard. Okay, this one's called You. I stare at you like you hold all my answers. Blank-eyed, early morning, pondering where to look next, around and around in circles, maps, calculator, bank, wikicamps. Over and over again, brain on a loop, eyes still sleepy from never enough sleep, brain still wired to please. Everyone else, despite the cost. Gentle reminders to self, don't do this again. This never works out well for you. Remember what happened last time? Yeah. You sit so easily in my hand, and I pray your light will guide me. I am a truth seeker. Show me the way. I swore I never would again. I pledged an oath to prioritize self-care. I allowed myself the rest, the sleep, the peace, the time out. I forgave myself my limitations. I let just being be okay. Don't push it. Don't push it. The price is too high. It's hard to say I can't when they'll never know why. You spin me around again in case I miss something. Maybe there's a way. I try again, but I'm getting nowhere. Seriously, I have to switch you off now and go to sleep. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, that was lovely from Lisa, and someone shouting, Mora, Mora. Next time, Lisa, Mora.